America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A couple of housekeeping things. Restrooms right out this door to your right. We got an emergency exit down here, and of course the exit that, or the entrance and exit that most of you came in. So both of those hallways. Thank you for coming in from that bitter Arctic blast that we have going on today. It's a little bit warm. That's okay. That's what summer's about. Bill, Commissioner Brooks apparently had some bad sushi, bad something, but he couldn't make it tonight. So you get me as a stand-in for a few minutes. So what we're going to do is Commissioner Matari is here. We asked him to stop by for a few minutes. He'd like to say a couple words, and then we're going to get back to our program, and then I'm going to kind of give you what kind of expectations you might be able to take away from tonight, and introduce Alexia, who's going to take charge of the rest of the meeting. So, Bruce.
Hey, thank you all for coming out tonight. I'm Commissioner Matari, and I was really sad to hear that Commissioner Brooks couldn't make it. So I felt it was only appropriate at least to have a commissioner address you tonight. So I really think it's important that from my perspective, and I believe the board as a whole, the fair is an integral part of this community. It's very important. And one of the things about the fair that is really good is the fact that we are financially in the black. And that wasn't always the case every year. Some years, taxpayers would be asked to help subsidize the fair. The person who is largely or leading that responsible is Alexia. And so she is a real treasure. We're very fortunate to have her to be in charge of our fair. And there's really a lot more that goes on to the fair than people really understand. The amount of logistics and planning and coordinating is immense. And so I think tonight you're going to have a very informative evening. And you got a great all-star cast up here that's going to answer a lot of questions for you. And so anyhow, welcome. Thank you for coming out tonight. The fair is very important, and it's great to see so many people show up. And I'm going to hand it back to the sheriff. So thank you all.
Thanks, Bruce. Yes, I think I may have forgotten. I am your sheriff, Sheriff Bob Norris. So thank you for coming out here tonight and getting out of that cold. You know, the fair. What does the fair mean to a community, and what does a fair mean to us? When we think about fairs and we think about what makes a community, we think about what the nexus to that community. And I believe that the fair is a nexus to what brings us and what labels us as a community. I think it's very important that we all have some common denominators, and I think that the fair, and I'm not just talking about the 10 days that we have in August. I'm talking about the year-round activities that a lot of people don't understand and don't know what the fair does. So you're going to hear about that tonight too. So we'd like for you to take away the value that the fair has, and we'd like to take you to take away that the fair is part of our culture and part of our community, part of what brings us together as a community, and a common denominator that we should all have. And we're gonna, do we have any more chairs, or is that it? Are we 3? Okay. I like it, people keep coming in, and that's good. We do have 4 chairs up here. 2, do you have 2 there, sir? Okay, we got 2 there, and we got 3 up here. And we have 1 there and 1 here, so. All right. Well, Bruce took a little bit of my thunder, but Alexia, I don't supervise her, I don't manage her. I hope to say that what I'm saying, she's doing an outstanding job over there. Really like the partnership that the sheriff's office has into making the fair a safe place. So that is my first and foremost concern, is making it safe. And I believe we have a very safe place, and I believe we have a very, very great working partnership. So Alexia, come on up. Alexia Jordan.
Well, thank you, Sheriff, and good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Alexia Jordan. I'm the General Manager and CEO of the Kootenai County Fairgrounds. About a month ago, Commissioner Brooks invited us to collaborate and host this Future of the Fairgrounds town hall meeting. We are proud to present a unique and fair-flavored version of a town hall. As you arrived, I hope you enjoyed some of our fair-themed elements we brought along, including some of our incredible youth and their goats that you may get to see at the fair if you join us. Delicious shaved ice, and of course in the back are blue ribbon cookies. Most of them are actually blue ribbon winning cookies, so do go home with them. Tonight you will hear briefly from me, and then 10 remarkable individuals, each connected to the fairgrounds in various capacities. Together, they represent a small portion of what I like to call our fair family. After their presentation, we will open the floor to Q&A, followed by a period of public comments. Once again, thank you for being here. Thank you to Commissioner Brooks for allowing this opportunity, Commissioner Matari for being here in his absence, and Sheriff Norris for also attending to help us out. Before I get started with our panelists, I wanted to first set the stage for tonight. We are the proud home of not only the North Idaho State Fair and Gem State Stampede, but also 249 different events last year, totaling for 767 event days. These events included annual gatherings, educational conferences, field trips, trade shows, livestock shows, dog shows, weddings, vintage markets, gun shows, coin shows, hot tub shows, motocross, which is this weekend, fundraising banquets, more than I could mention, baby showers, and memorial services. It's safe to say we touch all aspects of life. We welcome nearly 300,000 visitors each year, and 170,000 of those visitors come for the 10 days of the fair. We truly understand the value of connecting people and how it enhances the quality of our lives. You may or may not know that in recent years, through the effective management of our fair board and staff, we have become fully self-sustaining, taking no money from the county taxpayers. Although state statute allows for us to levy fair funds, we have chosen to forego that option. We are a component unit of the county, which allows us to run like a business. We have been the caretakers of this facility since the 1980s, and the fair board is appointed by the commissioners, the staff is hired by the fair board, and none of our staff works for the county. We strive to avoid being a burden on the county and the taxpayers and provide our community with valued substance. For many years, rumors of moving the fairgrounds have circulated. In my 10 years with the fairgrounds, I've heard these rumors too. Whether it be the Prairie, Athol, or south of town, I think we've heard them all. To my knowledge, no plan to move and fund the facility has been publicly presented, nor have you been given the opportunity to voice your opinions. We have partners and donors eager to invest in enhancing this facility to better serve our community. Without the county's guarantee, with this long-term lease that we've presented, they are hesitant to make significant contribution. Therefore, we have been unable to move forward. Currently, we're working on a long-term lease to secure our future, and begin to execute our master plan. The Fair Board initiated a master plan process in 2019. The commissioners at that time requested to add a market analysis to that plan, which came at a considerable cost. The county agreed that if the Fair Board paid for the master plan, that they would fund the market analysis contributing $40,000 to that project. The market analysis highlighted that our success and the success of our events are largely due to our proximity to I-90 and US 95. Moving forward with this plan, we would moving forward with this plan would solidify our ability to remain self-sustaining, better serve our growing community, and we would have no plans to ask for taxpayers to help fund that. A master planning workshop was requested by Commissioner Duncan and will be held on July 22nd. I'd like to invite anybody to attend if they like additional information about the master plan. That'll be 10 a.m. in this room. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our panelists. Jerry Johnson, our Fair Board Chair.
I'm Jerry Johnson. I'm the chairman of the North Idaho Fair Board. We have 7 board members. We're appointed by, as Alexia said, we're appointed by the county commissioners. We serve 4-year terms. We also have 3 alternates, and the goal of an alternate is to get people to kind of prepared and roll into it. We're 100% volunteer. I think all we get as a board member is a free ticket to the fair. But usually we're all there so early that we never look at our tickets, and we're there so late that we don't need to worry about parking either. So I started looking at, you're going to hear a lot about, and self-sustaining is one of the big things, but I started looking at our recent history. Do you know that the newest building on the fairgrounds is a food court, which was built in about 1965. So if you think about that, we have not moved forward very much. We have the Jacqueline building, which was donated by the Coors distributor, I can't remember the names, and reconstructed on the fairgrounds in about 1999. So not much new is showing up there during, my time there, and I haven't been there that long, but it's just amazing. So we're poised right now with our management and the funds that we put away. We entered into a lease with the county commissioners to build a new fire station on 1.5 acres on the fairgrounds, which just opened a month ago. We were able to get $350,000 more or less that we put in our capital reserve funds. So we're finally at the point where we think we can move forward and actually start working on this master plan. We want to build some buildings. We need our Jacqueline building, our biggest one, isn't big enough. We hold banquets like Rocky Mountain Elk, Cowboy Ball. We don't have enough room. People are going to Spokane looking for more room. We're also very economical. That's why Alexia talking about memorial services, wedding showers, all kinds of things that we do there, is because we have pretty reasonable space compared to what like some of the hotels might charge you. So I guess that's what we're trying to do, is get to this lease with the county so we can say, okay, 20 years, let's move forward. You're going to hear all the other panelists talk and cost. You look at what things cost today, there's no way that this fairground could move without 300 million, 600 million. You just look at infrastructure. There's no way we can do that. So we want to make our fairgrounds the best we can. You look at our amount of visitors, we're running about 170,000 people come to our fair, and that's just over that 10 days. We use a ton of volunteers, which, looking around the room, a lot of you are here, and we generate about what we think $240,000 that we make goes right back to these volunteer groups and nonprofits. So, and we'll talk about, I think Kevin's going to talk about the financial impacts. The amount of people that go to Nosworthy's or go to North 40 or shop and stay and do all that is amazing, the amount of money that people spend when they come to our events at the fairgrounds. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. It's funny how you get a passion for things like the fair, and that's why most of you are here too. So I'll let Dave Paul. Dave Paul's our chairman of our rodeo committee, which is our biggest event at the fair. We do 10 nights of different things. This year it's 5 nights of rodeo, and they'll all sell out. And that's why we add an extra night. We sell out most of our shows, whether it's demo derby or rodeo and the concerts. It's all to keep the fairgrounds going. Dave?
Thank you, Jerry. First, I guess I want to thank Commissioner Brooks and the rest of the board for allowing us the opportunity to discuss how important our fairgrounds is, not only to our local community, but to the thousands of others who directly benefit from its use. And it's really nice to see so many people in here tonight. So as Jerry said, my name is Dave Paul, and I'm a 29-year resident of Post Falls, Kootenai County. A little background, I grew up a rodeo cowboy. I spent 15 years riding bulls, not the smartest thing in the world, but traveled around North America and have seen hundreds and hundreds of facilities and arenas and those kinds of things. And I've also been involved over the last 43 years in the egg business, keeping farmers and ranchers viable. And it all ties in, you know, the rodeo, the fair, and the agriculture and all of that. But I first fell in love with our fairgrounds back around 1996 or so, shortly after my wife and I and my two little boys moved here from Montana. And I was done rodeoing with my kids. Alex was 4, Jacob was like 1. And I'd never really sat in the stands and watched a rodeo and stuff, but we had to take the boys. And I remember somebody told me as we were going to the fair, you better get there early or you won't get a seat. And many in here probably remember in the days before we started charging for the rodeo, we walked in there and there was blankets scattered across the whole grandstand. And I think we were there like an hour and a half, 2 hours early for the rodeo. But I sat in the stands that night and looked out at Canefield Mountain and I thought, wow, you know, what an awesome place for fair and rodeo. And I think, and you know, no wonder all these people saved their spots, you know, in the grandstands. And I felt like I needed to be a part of that. So kind of for the last 19 years, I, along with a host of other small group of volunteers on our committee, most of which are here tonight, have been really committed to the fair and growing the rodeo. So we've collectively built the Gem State Stampede Rodeo into one of the biggest and best pro rodeos in the Columbia River Circuit, which represents Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. And 2024 is our 38th anniversary as a pro rodeo, and what started as a real small rodeo has turned into a destination spot, in my opinion, is one of the best in pro rodeo. And it's like Alexia and Jerry mentioned, it's hard to get a ticket. We're now broadcast on national TV. For the first time ever, we have 5 nights of rodeo, $10,000 added in every event. The Thursday, Friday, Saturday rodeos are already nearly sold out and have been for over a month. Last year, we had the biggest rodeo we've ever had here, to my knowledge, my 19 years anyways. We had 106 breakaway ropers, 108 barrel racers, huge numbers in all the other events. And even if you came to the slack, which is the overrun from the rodeo on Sunday morning, there was probably more than a dozen world champions that were competing in Coeur d'Alene at the North Idaho Fair and Rodeo. We were the first pro rodeo to include women's breakaway roping during the actual rodeo. Our committees, our rodeo has won Rodeo of the Year awards, Best Footing awards, and many other accolades. But really, that's not the point, and that's not what's most important. In my mind, it goes back further than that. These fairgrounds and our rodeo have made it a goal to serve our local community and inspire local youth to participate in as many livestock and rodeo activities as we can. Our fair board, our fair staff, and rodeo committee each year hold multiple events in the arena. And besides the many youth-related schools and clinics held annually, just consider, I just made a list of the last year in our arena. In May 2023, we held the Washington State High School Rodeo, a state rodeo in Washington. And you might ask, why did we have a Washington State High School Rodeo in Coeur d'Alene? It was the only facility that was big enough to handle the size of that Washington State High School Rodeo. And if you happen to drive by or were there, it looked like the fair was going on that weekend. It was a huge event. Several North Idaho kids participated, but they came to us because there was not another facility around in this area to hold that event. And our committee in the fairgrounds made it affordable for them to come and put that rodeo on, and there was hundreds of kids that benefited from that. In June, July, August, and September, the fairgrounds hosts an annual or a barrel racing series. Hundreds of kids. You'll come out and see everything from parents, lead lining their kids around the barrels to, professional barrel racers going out. And again, there's just not very many places around here to go and do that on a day in and day basis. The first weekend of August is our annual Lake City Junior Rodeo. This year is our 10th anniversary. It's probably one of the best and biggest junior rodeos in the Northwest, and to my knowledge, I think it's probably the only junior rodeo that's left in northern Idaho. Again, this event sponsored by the fairgrounds and hosted by the rodeo committee. Then, of course, our rodeo in August, and then we cap it off in September. For the last 5 or 6 years, we've held what we call a Gem State Classic team roping. And it's kind of the same thing there. It's like there's just no place to go for people that are in those kind of avenues to go and compete without driving, hundreds of miles to go and do that. So, and I could go on and on about those annual events and haven't even discussed the horse shows, the 4-H activities. But suffice it to say, our facility hosting these events really creates an opportunity for kids and youth that I'm not sure would be filled anywhere else. I've been involved with rodeos for over 50 years now. I put on dozens and dozens of junior rodeos and high school rodeos and pro rodeos and stuff, and our facility is really second to none. It's old, it needs a lot of infrastructure capabilities, but if you look at our parking, our arena, the green space, and the facilities, I was in Montana over the 4th, and I had multiple people come up. I had my Gem State little hat on, come up and say that the Coeur d'Alene Rodeo is one of their favorite places to go. And you can fit everybody in, it gets tight, and so on. I considered, Spokane, back when I first moved here, you could go to Spokane and do a lot of those things in their arena. You can't do anymore. They have a wonderful arena in Spokane. They use it once a year, and that's it. And there's no place that you just can't rent that facility anymore. In my opinion, the Kootenai County Fairgrounds is like the last great spot in this area to host these kind of events, and I hope and pray it doesn't go away, because I feel our sport's going to considerably suffer if it did. And then before I close, I just want to discuss some of the other investments of our community, our fair board, our major local businesses, and our rodeo committee into the arena and the facilities. It's definitely a labor of love. My last 19 years serving on the rodeo committee as a volunteer, and all of our cohorts that are here tonight and so on, along with several committee members, and again, the fair board and the staff, have done significant improvements. The whole arena, all the livestock pens we've redone. Most of you remember it was all wood back in the day. We've redone all those in metal. We bought our current bucking chutes on an online auction, I don't know, probably 8 or 10 years ago for $10,000, and our committee spent all winter in Wade Soderbeck's shop rebuilding those before we were installing them, so there was literally no investment. It was just a lot of work and effort, to get that done. Our sponsors, our local businesses helped build the announcer stand, the Silver Buckle Club, and now the Chill Zone, which creates that big kind of rodeo atmosphere in Little Coeur d'Alene, and so on. Local companies stepped up and helped us fix the arena ground, donating tens of thousands of dollars to dig out and replace the arena dirt to make the ground safe for our competitors and our equine athletes. The Fair Foundation donated over $40,000 to replace our lights, and a huge sum to purchase a rock picker for the arena. And then our little junior rodeos contributed several $1,000s to the fair as well in terms of buying an arena drag and so on. And I can go on and on. I probably went on too long. But it actually, like I mentioned, it's a labor of love for so many in this room. And that will continue to grow if given the chance, with a long-term lease commitment to this site. It's so difficult, as Alexi mentioned, and Jerry too, that to make improvements and plans without knowing what direction it's going to be for our fairgrounds. Our fairgrounds are a North Idaho historical site for sure, and the events held each week throughout the year are extremely important to our economy and our community. 4-H, FFA, rodeos, livestock shows, animals, farm and ranch families are the background of Kootenai County. And going back to my opening remarks, I think we have one of the coolest fairgrounds in the region. It's in the center of town. It's a community gathering place. And since I moved here 29 years ago and I live out in the prairie, we've lost most of that prairie to development and subdivisions. And I just hope and pray that my grandkids get to enjoy this place like my kids and I have. So I appreciate the time I spent at the fairgrounds, and I really appreciate the opportunity to provide my feedback, and again, appreciate everybody showing up to hopefully provide yours as well. So, thank you.
I'm Joe Dobson. I came in here in 1967 as one of the county agricultural agents in charge of the 4-H program. I did that for 5 years, and we kind of built the program from 250 kids to about 1,350 kids, 200 and some leaders. I also spent 6 years on the fair board, so I got a little background there. I'd like to take a note from Pierce Clegg, who is a former sheriff here in this county, and Pierce said, and he's not, or he's very proud of that comment. And he said he never had a problem with any juvenile that had been involved in the fair and in the 4-H program. I think that's a tremendous comment. I'd like to have a show of hands right now. How many of you are former 4-H members and existing 4-H members? I knew there was a multitude of you. Thank you. If you take the last 57 years that I've been involved in the fair and you take an average of 600 kids, 57 years, that's 34,200 4-H years, plus all the parents, all the junior leaders, and it's just a tremendous opportunity. And that, as Dave mentioned here, all the sponsors and all the volunteer people, it's just unbelievable. I am disappointed tonight, though, that all three commissioners are not here. This is a public hearing, and I understand Bill Brooks couldn't be here, but Commissioner Matar also, apparently it's his anniversary tonight, so he had previous plans, but I wish the other one would have been here as well. I think maybe I look anyway at the fairgrounds, the new firehouse, that may be I don't know all the background on that, but to me that was a bad location. Only because, these are my comments, but that I think there could have been a better location there, because that's going to tie up traffic. And if it had been over on Government Way or in that general area, I just think it would have been a better decision. I'd like to also just mention that the sheriff was here. He had opening comments. If the sheriff wants to continue additional land, he needs to go up, not out, on the sheriff's facility. And I wish he was here to hear that. The fairgrounds is more than just a fair and a rodeo. And they do definitely need a long-term lease so other people can make a commitment. Last year, as they've already indicated, that there were 767 days and commitments of events. And so that figures out to 2 events a day. Those are strong numbers, and they've already pointed out also how this fairgrounds is being utilized far more than any other facility or fairground facility that I'm certainly aware of. We at Farm Bureau, I'm the current president of the Kootenai Shoshone Farm Bureau. Linda Ryder's here, and she's put on for the past 10 years of an extremely educational event involving 5th graders. This year we had 1,800 5th graders throughout the county involved in that program, and we want to see that continue. I don't know where it's going to stop. I guess we'll wait and see, but we need one specific location for that. In terms of cost comparisons, if this fairgrounds were to be moved, I'm in real estate also full-time, and I'm guessing it's going to be 500 to 600 million to get the land, get the facility, get the infrastructure, get the new buildings built, and I don't think we can afford it. I look at the new the new courthouse, and that only went over 20 million over budget. So I don't think we can afford to do any kind of a large expansion program, because God knows how many more million that's going to cost, over 600 million. And if you will, there are very few large, inexpensive land parcels on the Rathdrum Prairie. I think we all realize that at this particular time. The Jacqueline Building, I don't know what year that was built or put there, Jerry, but that's the latest addition, and that was a donation. 99. That's a very good thing. I look also at what Finley has done in helping with the grandstand and many other sponsors. Those sponsors also need to know that this is going to be a long-lasting facility, and it needs to be right where it's at. It's ideally centrally located. Now, on to other projects. Thank you.
I'm Kylene Klontz. I'm the secretary of Coeur d'Alene Dog Fanciers. We're an AKC club that's located in Coeur d'Alene. I'm here on behalf of Coeur d'Alene Dog Fanciers to express our concerns regarding the relocation of Kootenai County Fairgrounds outside of its current central location. As organizers of a long-standing annual dog show hosted at the fairgrounds, we believe this move would have significant detrimental effects on our event, other events similar to the one we host, and the broader community. There are many events of all sizes hosted at the fairgrounds. These events bring a broad variety of interests to our community, such as livestock shows, jam and rock shows, quilt shows, craft fairs, motocross, rodeos, concerts, and many others. Educational events such as Farm to Table, which teaches school-age children about where food comes from and how it's grown. The Kootenai County Fairgrounds has served as the heart of our beloved dog show for 27 consecutive years. This venue's location provides essential infrastructure and amenities that are crucial to hosting a successful and safe event. Its central location with Coeur d'Alene attracts handlers, exhibitors, and spectators from across the U.S. and Canada, contributing to the local economy and fostering community spirit. Each year, between 1,000 and 1,300 dogs are entered in our show, with approximately 2,000 to 2,600 humans participating. During the show, there are 100 to 120 RVs parked at the fairgrounds, which means there's a whole lot more staying in hotels in the area. Over the past 5 years alone, Coeur d'Alene Dog Fanciers has contributed around $70,000 to the fairgrounds in rental fees and an estimated $2 million to the community in money spent at local establishments. Moving the fairgrounds to an outlying area would pose several challenges. Accessibility and convenience. The current location allows easy access for participants and visitors, many of whom travel long distances with their dogs. Moving to a distant location would increase travel times and expenses, potentially deterring participants and reducing attendance. This is likely the same impact on other events. Our economic impact. Our dog show brings in revenue to local businesses, including hotels, restaurants, and shops. The fairground's current proximity encourages extended stays and spending in the community. Relocating the fairgrounds could result in decreased economic activity and the loss of revenue for local establishments. Community engagement. The annual dog show is a highlight of our community calendar, fostering camaraderie among dog lovers and showcasing the talents of canine competitors. Fairgrounds provides a central gathering place that promotes community engagement and cultural exchange. Logistical concerns. The fairgrounds' current facilities are purpose-built for hosting large events like ours with adequate parking exhibition spaces, and facilities for dogs and their handlers. Moving to a new location would require substantial investment in new infrastructure and could disrupt the smooth operation of our events and others. In conclusion, the Coeur d'Alene Dog Fanciers strongly urge the county commissioners to reconsider relocation of the Kootenai County Fairgrounds. We believe that preserving the fairgrounds' historical location is vital for maintaining the success and the vitality of our annual dog show, supporting local businesses, and nurturing community ties.
Good evening. My name is Rich Agueros. I'm the owner of United Crown Pump and Drilling. Our company is located on the northeast corner of Hayden and Atlas with the big water pump with multiple colored water, orange at the moment. I wanted to thank the North Idaho Fair Board for allowing my company to say a few words about our experience and our support. As the owner of United Crown Pump and Drilling, our company has been involved with advertising, sponsoring, and working with the North Idaho Fair for about 20 years now. We also continue to volunteer our time and support many different small projects with material, equipment, and labor contributions. We are also a longtime buyer and supporter of the 4-H program. So here's a little secret. Currently, we have 2 employees that I met through the 4-H program, paid way too much for their animals, and these 2 employees are hardworking superstars within our organization. Each year, as the kids come in to introduce themselves, it's a great format, and I talk to them about someday working for us, because we're always looking for those types of individuals. That really is a great place to find good kids that become good adults. To date, our company is one of the group of supporters that has the longest continuing sponsorship of the rodeo and specifically the Silver Buckle Club. I often tell people that are interested that it's some of the best money that we spend, and it's something that I personally enjoy and get a lot back from. A newspaper ad doesn't get you that, but the support for the fair and for the rodeo has been quite a blessing for us and my family. Something new for us, this year our company will be the presenting sponsor for the 2024 Gem State Stampede. It's a new opportunity for us, and we are excited to be part of the action. So, as a panelist for tonight's town hall, I wanted to share why I think the North Idaho Fair is in the perfect spot at the perfect time in its evolution. With many things in our lives, when something is perfect, it just seems normal. Some experiences are like a good haircut, nobody notices, or a good restaurant experience. When they are good, you just don't notice. Things seem just as they should be. It's my personal opinion and observation that the North Idaho Fair is currently in its Goldilocks moment, in the perfect place, at the perfect time, with some perfect management and great ideas. Very simply said, I would like my company's contributions to support and to live on beyond my time and into the future. My grandpa helped make that happen, is the legacy I want to leave behind. And that can only happen if the facility remains where it is and the contributions that we make now remain part of this Goldilocks story. So I'm asking you all to work towards solidifying a plan for the North Idaho Fair and Gem State Stampede to remain where it is for now and into the future. My grandchildren will thank you.
Hi, my name is Sean McAllister. I'm from Coeur d'Alene. I've been here my whole life, and I've owned businesses here in town for 35 years. I'm the guy that puts on the motorcycle races at the fairgrounds. This is our 27th year of doing it. From day one to current, our occupancy hovers between 90 to 100%. People travel from all over the greater Northwest to enjoy these events. I can tell you the continued comments I hear is how wonderful our city and fairgrounds are. It reminds them of a small town feel. This creates a comfort from when times were much safer and families did things together. One of the key things families do here is enjoy our nostalgic fairgrounds in our community. If we take that away, we're giving up a part of what makes Coeur d'Alene, Coeur d'Alene. We hope our fairgrounds won't be taken away for the sake of change or growth. Growth will continue whether we want it or not. Allow our city and community to maintain some of our history that still injects a large stream of revenue into Coeur d'Alene and Kootenai County. With the growth happening so fast in Coeur d'Alene, the nostalgia of the fairgrounds being in Coeur d'Alene cannot be overstated. The fairgrounds makes Coeur d'Alene still feel like a small town here. The location of the fairgrounds sharing a property line with the Sheriff's Department gives it a safe atmosphere. My fear is that many of the local residents that have attended the different types of events over the years will think the Athol area or wherever they're considering is too far to travel and attendance will suffer. It will be a 45-minute drive for a lot of our Kootenai County residents to attend any event. Also, driving back into Coeur d'Alene or Post Falls late at night is not ideal, is not safe, and that will deter many people from attending. The fairgrounds location is exactly where it needs to be, close and easily accessible by all. Everything else around here is changing. Can we just leave this one alone? The fairgrounds here is iconic. It has lots of history. It's genuine and innocent for all to enjoy. I encourage us to protect it and let it do what it does best, bring people together.
Hi everybody, my name's Jessica McLean. I'm here before you today as a proud, lifelong resident of Kootenai County, deeply connected to the traditions and values that make our community special. For generations, my family has been intertwined with the fabric of this land, from farming on the Rathdrum Prairie to actively participating in the North Idaho State Fair. My journey with the fair began in my childhood, where I eagerly showed animals alongside my peers, learning the values of hard work, integrity, and the community support. These lessons were instilled in me not just by my family, but by the broader community that rallied around us every year at the fairgrounds. My commitment to serve and community extends beyond my upbringing. As a proud U.S. Army veteran, I've learned firsthand the importance of dedication and sacrifice, values that resonate deeply with the spirit of the fair and its exhibitors. My father's service, earning 2 Purple Hearts during Vietnam, taught me the true meaning of resilience and courage, values that continue to inspire me this day. Today, my husband and I proudly continue our family's farming legacy through McLean Cattle Company, where our 3 sons, now 7th generation, are actively involved. They too have participated in showcasing their animals at the fair, carrying forward the traditions passed down through our family for decades. The North Idaho Fairgrounds is not just a venue. It's a living testament to our community's history and values. It's a place where generations come together to celebrate our agricultural heritage, support local businesses, and provide our youth with invaluable opportunities to learn about work ethic, integrity, and entrepreneurship through animal husbandry and exhibit competitions. I firmly believe that the fair and its grounds are irreplaceable asset to our community. They serve as a beacon of our shared values, a place where friendships are forged, memories are made, and futures are shaped. The fairgrounds offer a unique opportunity for our youth to engage in hands-on learning, fostering skills in businesses, marketing, and responsibility that will serve them well throughout their lives. As we look to the future, it's crucial that we continue to support and invest in the North Idaho Fairgrounds. It's not just about preserving a venue. It's about preserving our heritage, ensuring that future generations can experience the same sense of community and pride that has defined our past. Last year, over 300 animals were sold and purchased by over 150 local families and businesses. Annually, over $1 million is generated at the stock sale at the North Idaho State Fair. The fair and its grounds are more than just a location on a map. They are a symbol of who we are as a community, resilience, hardworking, and deeply connected to our roots. Let's come together to ensure that the North Idaho Fairgrounds remain a thriving hub of activity, a testament to our values and traditions that we can proudly pass down to our future generations. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for joining us this evening. And let's continue to support and celebrate the North Idaho Fairgrounds for many years to come.
My name is Bat Masterson. I'm a 65-year resident of Kootenai County, and I've been using the fairgrounds every day since, probably. The one fault I have about the fairgrounds is that what got me started in rodeo, and it's been downhill ever since. Not really, I'm just kidding. I sit on the Fair Foundation Board of Directors. It's a 7-member board, and we're always looking for new members, by the way. But we currently have 7 members, and then we have 1 paid member. We recently hired a development director. The mission of the foundation is to raise money for the fairgrounds for capital improvements. You heard Dave mention that we had donated some money to the rodeo committee for the buck and chews and stuff. We donate money to the fairgrounds every year. Over the years, we have raised a fair amount of money. We have great people that donate all of their time to working at making these donations happen. Most of the donations are through fundraisers that foundation members work toward and participate in putting it on. Our mission of the foundation, as I told you, is to support the fair with the capital improvements. With this in mind, since the foundation came into existence, we have raised $1.9 million into funds for the fairgrounds. In 2023, we raised $223,857.40. Those figures alone should let you know how important raising money to support that fairgrounds and keep that fairgrounds here is to us. That money doesn't come out of our pockets. We put in the time to get it raised, but the money comes out of your pockets. You know, it's through donations that you guys make, through fundraisers that you guys support. And without the community, that fairgrounds cannot exist. Without the community, the foundation cannot exist. So it is very important to us. We've changed a few things within the foundation. We're working on some new fundraising projects right now as we speak. The foundation also has a very active program for scholarships to students. In 2023, actually we had 18 students that we just recently closed out on. 18 students that received $21,000 in scholarship monies from the foundation. That is a nice thing to keep moving forward. That is aside from what we give to the fairgrounds. Since the scholarship program began in 2013, the scholarship program has also raised $1.9 million. So again, it's a very viable program. I'd like to talk just a little bit about the usability of the fairgrounds and what I've seen. As many of you know, I travel across the United States many times every year. I've probably traveled across the United States in excess of 200 plus times, both north and south and east and west. And every time I traveled there, I had horses in tow. When I travel with horses, I frequently try to seek out the fairgrounds to stay at. I can make a real honest comparison of most of the fairgrounds in the United States. You will not find a fairgrounds that has better support, better facilities, greater hospitality than the fairgrounds in Kootenai County. And I've traveled in the summertime, I've traveled in the wintertime, and it is just a blessing to have that in our backyard and be able to use that. Let me see what, I just got a little, in case you wanted to know this, did you know? The fairgrounds contributed $30 million in economic impact and contributed $9.7 million in labor income while supporting 267 jobs last year. That's a far cry from the 600 million it's going to take to replace it, but that is what kind of impact our fairgrounds has on our community. Thank you for being here. I agree with Joe also. I am very disappointed that the county commissioners are not here. I understand why Commissioner Brooks could not be here, but as far as I'm concerned, there is no excuse for the other two. So, thank you very much.
I'm relatively new to this conversation because I was actually quite shocked when I heard that they were thinking about moving the fairgrounds. My initial reaction was, "You got to be kidding me!" But then, you know, I'm a businessman and a lawyer and a recovering politician, and so I got to thinking, you know, it's actually probably a really good opportunity to have a dialogue and reflect on why we are so lucky to have what so many up here have said that we have, right? So Alexia asked me to talk about who I was and what the impact of the fairgrounds were before I was a politician and a businessman and a lawyer. And before that, I was a 4-H kid. And so when she asked me that question, I kind of had a moment of nostalgia. It took me back to being a 16-year-old boy, right? And I thought the answer was crystal clear to me. Why were the fairgrounds important to me? It's obvious to meet girls, right? The fairgrounds were a cornerstone in my upbringing. Some of my most vivid memories of growing up were at the fairgrounds because the fairgrounds truly were my community, right? And I've lived here ever since, half as long as Bat, 33 years. And they've been a part of my life for that entire time. Right, and the things that I learned at the fairgrounds, I carry with me to this day. And the friendships that I've built through the fairgrounds, I carry with me to this day. And I see some faces in the crowd. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Luke Malik, and I was in the legislature for 6 years, served in the legislature representing the Coeur d'Alene area here. So the fairgrounds were in my legislative district when I was in the legislature. And I now have a law firm that is downtown on Front Street, and we've expanded into other offices as well. But the things that we learned growing up around the fairgrounds, I mean, I think Sean, Jessica, even Sheriff Norris talked about it. You know, what the fairgrounds represent are culture. They are the community. I mean, it is the heart and soul of our community, right? And that's, I think, why my initial reaction was such shock. I mean, what message are we sending if we say we are going to take the symbol of everything that we stand for, community? Somebody mentioned change is really hard, right? I mean, if you've been here for 33 years or 65 years, you've watched the community change, and it can be really, really frustrating. And it's our responsibility as people to understand that we can't stop change, but it's also our responsibility as community members to understand that as much as things change, we can't let the most important things change. And we can't let our culture change. We can't let our what we stand for change. And what we really truly, what the fairgrounds stand for, personal responsibility, like we were talking about. What other venue are people going to learn that they've got to feed their horses or feed their animals before they feed themselves? And what other area, where are people going to learn to, I mean, talk about business. Even if some people are willing to overpay for some livestock, I mean, you do learn a lot about business as you're raising livestock. To have that right here in the center of our community, the symbolism of having the heart and soul of what we stand for, what people come here to be a part of, right in the heart of our community, to move that away, I really have a hard time fathoming it. And I'm grateful for the opportunity that we could to celebrate it here today. So I can tell a lot of this crowd is really friendly to what this stands for. You know, but from a business perspective, I don't really know what the business argument would be for moving the fairgrounds. I mean, you heard some of those numbers, $600 million investment to move the thing. Like, I don't understand that either, but I'll be honest, I haven't heard what the arguments are for moving the fairgrounds. But as a businessman, I go around and I talk to a lot of other businesses, my clients, and I say, the most important thing that you can understand about your business is why your business exists, right? And that's the most important thing you can understand about your community and even know your own life. Like, what is the purpose behind your own life? And what we stand for as a community, the things that I've listed, personal responsibility, and our culture, those are the things, that is why people move here. If we kick that out, if we kick our central purpose out of the heart of our city, the heart of our community, out of the center of our community, I think that symbolism's pretty terrible. So whatever the business decision is, it almost doesn't matter to me. Actually, it doesn't matter to me, because at that point in time, whatever the business decision is, you've defeated it by making a decision that gets rid of your soul. So I guess I would encourage, I understand the commissioners aren't here and that kind of stuff happens, but I would encourage them to listen to the community that they're having an impact on, right? And I would encourage all of us to stand up and say, I hope you listen to us as a community about what's important as a community, whether we've been here for 65 years or whether we moved here 65 days ago, right? What we stand for truly matters, and the fairgrounds embody that. So, yeah, with that, I think I said all I have to say. So I appreciate you guys being here. And I hope that this conversation really, if nothing else, helps illuminate what a tremendous resource we have, and how lucky we are to have a community that's growing, but also is in touch with who it really is.
My name is Kevin Kirking. I am a current board member, Fair Board member, and was a member of the North Idaho Fair and Rodeo Foundation Board of Directors for 9 years prior to that. I'm going to start a little bit with my story. This is really important stuff to most of us out there, and it should be a story that we talk about in the community as we move forward here. I'm kind of like probably many people in the audience, because I recognize a whole bunch of folks having been here. My family immigrated to Kootenai County from my maternal grandmother's side from before 1920. My paternal father, my paternal side of the family, and that came here from North Dakota, a bunch of good Norskies in 1934. We've been around here for a while. I'm a fourth generation Kootenai County resident. My kids and grandkids are fifth and sixth generation, and I've got a 6-month granddaughter that now is a 7th generation Kootenai County resident. So we've got some history here that we want to protect. You know, the fairgrounds it's an opportunity to commemorate and share where we are, where we come from. I mean, it's a reminder of our roots and our agriculture heritage that we have here in this community. I mean, back when I was a little kid in 4-H, I raised a Guernsey cow to show, and that became our family milk cow when I was, back in the mid-60s. And we value those kinds of things that develop in our background. But more than that, even, the Kootenai County Fairgrounds it's a fabric, as many people have said, it's a fabric of our community. A diverse gathering places, and it's for all ages. I mean, you see folks at the fair and these other things, little kids being carried by mom and dad to octogenarians, which I'm not all that far from myself. It's what makes part of the community, our community, livable. It celebrates local talent, rewarding enterprise from youngest all the way through, successful businesses, and contributions of our nonprofits, which are a really important place for nonprofits to be able to gain support. In a lot of areas, they wouldn't have that without the fairgrounds. We've talked about the economic impact, the $30 million in revenue, $10 million in labor income, and substantial tax revenue impact, those kind of things. Those are impressive accomplishments, but for me, perhaps even more importantly, you can't put a price tag on smiles. And by golly, you go to the fairgrounds on almost any of those things, and what you're going to see is a lot of people smiling and having a great time. It's tough to put a price tag on that. A large part of what makes our fairgrounds, the fairgrounds, is arguably where it's located. The location of it is so important. It's kind of our center. I like to say it's central to our traditions, at the center of our community. And importantly, it's also centrally accessible, like others have mentioned, in close proximity to I-90 and Highway 95. We have east and west traffic, north-south traffic, and it serves to get people here from Spokane, from Washington, from Shoshone County, from Benawa, all the way up to Boundary and Bonner and Boundary counties. We get people from all of those areas, as well as people from other areas of the United States that are visiting us. It is a true community center. It's the recent master plan that we have. It provides a vision, and if you attend our meeting here that we'll have on the 22nd, you'll see even more about what that master plan involves. But it provides enhanced community services, increased economic vitality, and just a lot more places to enjoy life here in North Idaho. However, and this is kind of the point I want to kind of get to, it would be impractical and downright unethical for us to proceed as a board and as a community to solicit funds to grow and improve the fairgrounds without a long-term commitment. Because how would you like to go out and solicit funds from people knowing that you're not going to be there potentially for a very long period of time? It doesn't make any sense, and it would be unethical for us to proceed in that manner. So without a long-term commitment, it's tough. And if, for example, they move the fairgrounds, there is a really good chance that the fairgrounds would go bye-bye. Because it's an unknown commodity, whether or not, first of all, we could raise enough money as a county to even afford to move the fairgrounds to the north part of our county or wherever it would end up. And it's both unaffordable and it's also just plain impractical. I mean, it just doesn't make sense for us to do that. The realities, political realities, a regular commissioner and other election cycles, along with their inherent diversity in priorities and those elected officials and the pressures from outside interests, cause a great deal of uncertainty. And that uncertainty dampens our enthusiasm for progress. It's just a natural way of things. So securing the future of the fairgrounds and the event center with a long-term lease, along with provisions for renewal, if we continue to be successful, as I'm sure we will, as everybody in here is enthusiastic about that, it would provide decades of relief for us and for our community. And with that lease, with a lease in hand, the Fair Board, the North Idaho Fair and Rodeo Foundation, the volunteers and staff are prepared to proceed with fundraising in support of the phase one of our master plan. And you can look forward to some really great things that are going to happen at that fairgrounds to enhance the enjoyment and participation of a lot more folks and our kids in those processes. So in closing, I just am optimistic about wide community support for those endeavors and the continuation of our fairgrounds as in the same spot that it's been in for since 1953. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, and to all of our panelists. I'm so proud to call you family and grateful the fairgrounds brought us all together. It's truly an asset worth far more than money, in my opinion. The fairgrounds across the country offer not just a gathering place, but a place to keep traditions alive, a place to create memories with your friends, your family that last a lifetime. It showcases all the good in our community. It's something we need to hold on to. They are vital in preserving our heritage, providing space where the past meets the present, and ensuring that our traditions are passed down to future generations. This is your fairgrounds. It is an Idaho tradition. It is an American tradition, and I hope you help us see that it stays right where it belongs. So with that, we're going to open up to some Q&A. There may be a lot, there may be a little, but after that, we're going to go to public comment. So we're going to move this podium so it's easier for everybody to get to, and then we'll get started.
I probably should have talked to people before I asked this question, but 13 years ago, I built a hospital, and we had multiple expansions. And honestly, it seems like that was a blink ago. I can't even fathom thinking I only have 7 more years. And we keep talking about a 20-year lease. When I was 30, 20 years seemed like a long time. It doesn't seem like a long time anymore. I'm 59, Lord willing, I'll be here in 20 years. I don't want to fight this fight again. I think we should be talking 50 years. I think the only reason we're here tonight is because the influx of in our community and in our governments of non-ag minded people, and 20 years from now, is not going to be better. This may be the last lease we get if that trend continues. So my question is, why 20?
Go ahead. I'm not sure how this works. We're making it up as we go.
Can I answer the question?
I can answer Bob's question just briefly. Hold on just a moment. I think originally went in hoping for like 50, and we did some negotiating, and this is where we've compromised. It would have currently, the way it's written, and it is not approved yet, but it would have 2 10-year options for renewal, which would bring it to 45. It was a negotiation.
Trying to get the support of the commissioners is kind of where we're at. They've talked as little as 15. We wanted 50. I don't know. It's still negotiable, but right now we're kind of at 20.
Okay, so I'm Lawrence Scarcello, a lifetime resident. There's no question the fairgrounds is truly part of the fabric of our society. A lot of us have been in and out of that fairgrounds for years, grew up there. I can't understate the importance of it. And I'm with Mr. Dobson, the jail should be built up or down, dig a basement. And then I look at the fire station. And yeah, the county may have got some money for the footprint. I can't look at that. I'm going to say this respectfully, but I want to say it forcefully. To me, that's nothing short of a blunder. This footprint that everybody seems to value and respect has to be guarded. You have to stand your ground. To me, I look at that as the county subsidizing growth. Why did not the growth industry furnish a footprint for the fire station? Now, safety is a wonderful thing. I'm not discounting that. I don't discount the need with the influx of people. But I look at that as subsidizing growth with my taxpayer dollar. And again, some money was received. And that's part of what's wrong with a lot of this area is short-term gain without a long-term thinking. I think that's a huge precedent that could be set. That's a mistake. Again, I want to say this respectfully, but I drive by that, and that is nothing short of a blunder. I really feel that, people.
Hello, Ron Hartman. I'm supporting what you want to do. And if you get the 20-year lease, could one of you explain what your phase 1 plans are to us?
Yes. What I would like to ask is that if you want full details, you come to the July 22nd meeting so we can hear from a bunch of people. The phase 1 plan briefly, which again we'll discuss on the 22nd, 10 a.m. right here in this room, is essentially $50 million. It would be enhancing or rebuilding the Jacqueline building and expanding it so we can fit our larger events. We turn away events weekly that do not fit there, and they do not fit in Kootenai County, so they go back to Spokane, but they want to be here. Some of them are residents here and want their banquets to grow. So we do need to enhance the facility in order to fit those needs. Now, briefly, we've talked about a 10-year hope that we can get the funds raised and build. I hope that answers your question, Ron, but do come on the 22nd and we'll go into more detail.
Hello, I'm Kim Edmondson, longtime Kootenai County resident. I look forward to public comment as well, but I do have a question. I have to agree with Dr. Peters about the concerns with non-ag related people moving into different areas and looking at things differently than the rest of us who have been here for so long do look at things. And I've noticed that I understand Bonner County is having a similar situation as we are. I know that Ada County is going through some struggles as well with their fairgrounds and trying to maintain the location of it. And my question, I guess, is to Alexia, do you see this through all of your involvement with the national fair groups and regional events that you take part in as a practice that's beginning to occur or a theme that you're seeing regularly, and how do we fight that? Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Yes, to address that question, I do see this as a problem specifically in Idaho. I do not see it as a problem in a lot of other states, especially our bordering states. They do a lot to protect their fairs and protect agriculture. I think that we are hopeful that we can get in front of some state representatives very soon and start addressing those issues to better protect all of our Idaho fairs, not just the North Idaho State Fair.
Hi, my name's Dan Norsini. We kind of came in on the backside of learning that the fairgrounds were supposedly going to be moved. And so I'm trying to find out what the thinking is, if any of you up here know, behind the people, maybe it's the commissioners who are proposing that in the first place. Are they intending to perhaps move this and sell it to a developer? I mean, what is the actual background of all this? And the reason I'm asking is we came up from Texas in 2009. We're outside Houston, a small town called Tomball. And so we watched the growth from Houston as it expanded out. And Tomball is a little small town, a lot like Coeur d'Alene, small town feel to it, kind of old American values and all that, good brisket, all that stuff though too. So, but it's changed. It changed the whole personality of that town. It's all kind of gone. The people who are down there kind of long for those days, that nostalgia, and I'm concerned that that's going to happen up here too with this. So if y'all can maybe provide me, maybe I'm the only one up here, with the background is what's going on with the commissioners talking about moving the fairgrounds. Thank you.
Well, I'll attempt to answer this one. There's been talk going on for, 10 years plus probably. Last 5 years, it seems to have gained momentum. There's nobody with a clear voice saying this. A lot of what we hear are secondhand rumors coming from downtown, from developers, different things that, one thing we hear is, well, we'll sell half and we'll build the county campus up here on the fairgrounds. There have been inquiries made to landowners out on the prairie. Would you donate 100 acres, 200 acres, and we could build a fairgrounds there with the intent. And the intent seems to be to move where we're sitting here up to the land the county owns on the fairgrounds. I've been here quite a while. I grew up in Montana, but I've been here long enough that where we're sitting used to be the jail. And you'd come to DMV downstairs about where we're sitting, I think, which was a horrible place. But and then they try to chase you away so they could move on. But that's where the jail came from. A lot of you probably remember when 4-H was the building's still there, but it's right in the middle of the campus of the sheriff and the jail. So that's what we want to stay where we're at. We don't want to move, but there's this continual swirling. Maybe Joe can address this as well because he's involved in real estate. But yeah, it's out there. We hear it everywhere I go. You know, I spend every day at the fair or other events, and I'm questioned on it constantly about, well, what's this? I hear the fairground's going to move. And, you know, at one point a year or two ago, we were told you shouldn't build anything permanent on the fairgrounds. If you want to build something, it should be temporary that could be moved. So I know we're hearing this kind of stuff, and I guess that's one big reason we're here tonight is to demonstrate the community support for what we have and leave it alone. It costs you as a taxpayer nothing. Employees, heat, lights, maintenance. I mean, we do it all. You fund it by coming to the fair. And we just want to keep that. So, Joe, do you have any comment on that?
Leave it where it's at.
So, I'm Dave Fair, and yes, the fair is dear to me, but over the years, I've watched a lot of agreements between the Commissioner's office and the fair were pushed aside. Can't be enforced, can't hold or bind another elected body from a different one. And my concern, I would love to see a 50-year lease, but I understand negotiations. But my bigger concern is it an ironclad lease, or are there outs that really make it worthless? Because I've seen too many of those agreements. So maybe that's an unfair question, and maybe I should just push that you and legal counsel make sure that it truly is. If 20 years is the best we can get with 210s, that it's ironclad.
Would anyone like to address the code that exists with respect to the residential, the amount of number of people at residence in Kootenai County that exists that also is a sort of Damocles kind of hanging over our heads?
Yes, I can do that, and maybe Luke can chime in if you want. I can't tell you the exact code. I'm going to say it's probably 22202 in Idaho statutes or 204. It does address the population base of any Idaho county. Should an Idaho county reach the population base of 200,000, the county commissioners can take over the management and operations of the fairgrounds, fair board. So the fair board would stop being, well, you're at a governing board, right? And it would come under we would become a full department of the county. So that would change things dramatically for us. I think that would disband the entire fair board and likely probably some of our staff. That's a scary thought for us because census is predicting that in next year we'll hit that population base here. So that is I think the reason Kevin brings that up is it was written into the most recent draft we have received of that lease agreement, or the MOA is what I should call it. We will continue to work with legal representative to see if we can negotiate that piece out, because that wouldn't really give us a lease at all.
Hi, folks. I'm Cecil. Some of you know me. First off, I've lived in Coeur d'Alene for the last 80 years. I was conceived here. My father was one of the sailor boys at Farragut. My mother was a downtown businesswoman. And I enjoyed the fair. I spent 30 years manning one of the booths out there, enjoyed it as a child. But the first thing that came to my mind was, this is not the first time we've been asked to move something of value that belonged to us in this county out on the prairie. They tried to take the beach behind North Idaho College. They said, oh, move it out there. We'll help you move it out there. We want to put up condos and all sorts of houses along the lake there, along the river there. And we said, no, we're going to fight for it. Art Manley, Norm Gissel, Tony Stewart, and many of the people, some of the people here fought to save our beach. Now we would have to fight to save our fair that I deeply love. I've got a garden 2 blocks away, and if I do good, I'm going to have squashes to take to the fair. Any of the others of you who have vegetables, please bring them to the fair. But if we want to keep the things that in this town, community, that is us, to maintain the lifestyle, the beauty, and get involved and fight for the things. And the thing we need to fight for right now is the fair. For the 4-H kids, for the police, for the community. I also believe that as much as I support the police, I think they should move any new buildings north, not south. I was thinking earlier about the fact that we're being nibbled on by a herd of ducks. Each duck is taking a little piece out of us, and there's nothing going to be left to us but a pile of bones laying on the ground unless we stand up and fight for it. So I ask you to do peacefully. I'm a moderate peacemaker. I'm a very pro-police, as everybody knows, but stand up and do what's morally right. Fight for our lifestyle, what we hold precious, because otherwise we will lose it. Whether it's the fair or the library or the schools, if we don't stand up for our values and fight for the things that are good and just and fair, they will go, and we'll just be a city of strangers who don't know each other and have nothing in common. And I'm going to shut up and sit down.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tom Sanner. I'm a lifelong resident of Idaho. When I came here this evening, I ran into myself at the front door. There was 3 young individuals out there, and I brought along with me the first year that I attended the fair as a 4-H, 1964. But I am here for those young individuals. And you are the ones who are going to have to fight for them. Unfortunately, this has not been a nonpartisan issue. If it was, the commissioners would be here in this room right now. It has become political. And I hope everyone here gets involved and tries to save the fairgrounds.
I'm Elaine Cook, and I am not a native, but I have lived here for 45 years, and I feel like a native. And I moved here because I'm a farm girl from Eastern Washington, and I enjoyed the prairie. Where's the prairie now? Condo, houses. There's nothing left to the prairie anymore. We're losing all that. And now they want to move the fairgrounds out there just so they can put more condos in here. I mean, sure, maybe that's not what they're going to do, but who knows? Houses, condos, that's all anybody wants to build anymore. Take away the prairie. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm a farmer's daughter. And damn if I want any more condos and houses.
As I said, I look forward to public comment. So I'll ask for Alexia, are there any other questions for the question and answer portion? Okay, I see a question. Come on up.
Okay, so I'm Joyce Dryden. I'm not a native either, but been here for 30 years. And my kids grew up, okay, if I cry, it's just because I'm emotional here. My kids grew up going to the fair and have so many great friendships and memories. And anyway, my question is, what can we do? I'm so angry and disappointed that the county commissioners, it's my anniversary too. And my husband understood why I'm here. He told me to come. Okay, so why are they not here? And what can we, as a community who loves the fairgrounds, what can we do to help? I mean, this is great, but is there anything we can do? Will they even hear this? Oh, I do, but I mean, they keep, same damn people keep coming back in. Anyway, that's my question. Thank you.
Hey, I'll answer. Yeah, so I'll answer part of that question. I'm Jonathan Gillum, and I work for the county commissioners. Tonight is a town hall. It's not a public hearing. It's organized by one county commissioners. We're going to have a workshop to talk about this on July 22nd. And that's why we couldn't have 3 county commissioners here for a town hall. We would be breaking open meeting law. So that's why we couldn't have 3 here. Hope that answers that.
Yeah, if they have 2 or more commissioners, it violates public meeting laws to have.
Yeah, that's correct.
There are
So
exceptions. Yes, we don't.
We would have to have a clerk here for that. Like Jonathan said, this was set up by Commissioner Brooks, who hoped to be here and unfortunately fell ill. Commissioner Matari was here. He opened the event right after the sheriff did, and he found out today at 2 o'clock that Commissioner Brooks wasn't going to be able to make it. Otherwise, if he'd had a little bit more notice, he would have been here for the whole event. But it is his wedding anniversary, so I will give him a pass for tonight. I'll let you take that up with his wife.
On our 50th anniversary, my wife and I put touch in international.
Chris.
Marty thought 20 years ago, county commissioners would not change some of the rules. They were doing what was best for the realtors of Coeur d'Alene and not the people of Coeur d'Alene. The people complained. The county commissioners ignored them. And you, the people, voted all 3 of those county commissioners out at the next election.
Let's go.
You have the power to change it. You want to do it? Do it.
Very good. Well, we'll move on with public comment, I suppose. So where we are? Okay. All right. Again, I'm Kim Edmondson.
Really quickly, Joyce, try and come to the 22nd where you have the audience of all 3 commissioners. Okay. And you can write letters to the editor. You can write letters to the fair. We'll keep them for support. Should this ever come up to an actual public talk as far as moving it, which again, I said earlier, we've never been presented with any public plan of moving the fairgrounds. So it's rumors.
What about changing the law that addresses the population number in the state or for each county? Is there any movement on trying to address that?
I believe Farm Bureau may be working on that effort.
Okay, very good. All right. I'm Kim Edmondson. I'm a longtime 37-year member of or resident of Kootenai County, married to a native. And I also worked for the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office for 29 years and retired from there. I've been involved with various activities at the fairgrounds over the years. Know everyone at the table and have worked with you in some manner, form over the time that I've been there. whether it was as a volunteer helping with cleanup projects, community project days that we'd have with my son as he grew up in 4-H as well, as a participant myself in horse shows and events. I also served on the North Idaho Fair and Rodeo Foundation Board. I was the chair of the Cowboy Ball Committee for a number of years and started the original rodeo committee. So I kind of have a nexus with everybody up here. And I think about some of the different things that on the grounds where they exist. I've attended, not in the volunteer respect, but as a community member, that I've attended the garden shows and the fairs and the rodeos and home improvement and garden shows and rock shows, and I've taken my dog to the dog show. So I've been there. The memorial services, fundraisers for nonprofits, so many of them in our community that have benefited from the grounds, and not only with the great pricing, but also a lot of the things that the fairgrounds has done over the years to donate some of those things back to the nonprofits. So they're just an amazing partnership between the fairgrounds and our nonprofit community as well. And with the sheriff's office being next door and working there for so long, the last 15 years of my career, I was in the command staff. And we used the fairgrounds as a convenient location for a number of events, large-scale events like, I remember filling up the entire place for an inspection. We had an all-vehicle inspection there one time. It was crazy. We've used it for training. We've used it to develop scenarios. We've used it for trials. We've used it for other large events. The fairgrounds was host with Sheriff Norris coordinating Sheriff Ben Wolfinger's retirement, if any of you remember that. And that was an incredible event. But it didn't draw a lot away from the sheriff's office because we're right next door, so we were able to kind of skirt on over there, take care of the stuff, the training, whatever it was, and then go back to work. But I can't imagine that we would have a place to be able to do things like that, or a sheriff's office wouldn't have that availability if it were moved somewhere else. And I think about some of the other things that I've done. I'm on the Kootenai Shoshone Farm Bureau Board, and each year we hold the Meet a Farmer event there and the Farm to Table event in May, and I've participated in those for years as well. Over the years, as I said, I was on the command staff, so I sat in a lot of budget meetings for the last 15 years of my career. And I witnessed during budget meetings and public hearings and other opportunities that I had to sit before the board. I watched as they whittled away at the fair and literally tormenting the staff with changes, making their ability to operate increasingly difficult. Years ago, I remember that they started separating the staff from the fair because the staff was part of the county just because of the way we functioned. They were at least covered by insurance at the time. And I remember when those benefits were being taken away, and they made the fair staff figure it out. Then they stepped back when wear and tear and damages, when we had incredible snowfall that caved roofs in and things. And I watched them, again, they stepped back and wouldn't provide funding to help with the damage repair. And they made the fair staff figure it out. Then the BOCC began cutting the budget that was provided to the fair annually until finally they gave them nothing. And they left the fair staff to figure it out. They took acreage away for various reasons, and they left the fair staff to figure it out. They challenged the makeup of the fair board, and they began to micromanage the board itself, who could and who couldn't serve. I remember that happening, and I remember what a challenge it was. And they left the fair staff to figure it out. Do you know what happened because of all of those challenges? Well, the fair staff figured it out. What was initially a lot of boat storage years ago, that's what the fairgrounds was used for, and a 5-day fair has now become an event center for events, as you've heard, that occur year-round, events that have a huge positive impact on our community and that positively impact our area businesses. As the recent impact study does show, we hold a 10-day state fair that's an award-winning fair, and the Kootenai County Fairgrounds is now entirely self-sufficient. For the last few years, and remember, commissioners change, so whatever this group thinks, the next group, might want to change it. So they've talked about moving these fairgrounds. I've heard them talk about moving the fairgrounds. I've talked about moving them away from places that are positively impacted by them, moving the grounds away from the center of the people that they impact. It doesn't cost us anything to keep the fairgrounds where it's at because the fair staff figured it out. Well, now that they have figured it out, a way to keep the fairgrounds intact for a bit longer through contracting with the BOCC for a 20-year lease. What I would ask each of you to do is two things. Support the lease proposal, and then urge the BOCC to move forward with the proposal without stipulations because they do have out clauses written in already with what they're talking about. I'd like to thank Commissioner Brooks for creating this opportunity, and I'd like to thank the fair staff for figuring it out. And then I'd also like to just ask everybody to have Barb Renner on their minds if you know who she is. That's an important meeting, even more important today. Okay, thank you.
People have asked what you can do. I think one of the main things you can do is share all this information with your family, your friends, and your neighbors, and get them on board so that we have an overwhelming amount of support. And that makes it really difficult when you can put a lot of pressure on elected officials, because one thing they like to do is get reelected. And if they've got enough people out there that may not cast their vote for them, that's something they listen to. So that would be my encouragement for all of you.
While our next speaker's going up there, I want to address the commissioners. This is on YouTube right now. It will be on YouTube if you want to watch it tomorrow, or encourage people to watch it. And I assume the commissioners, each of them, will most likely, either they're watching it now or will watch it soon.
My name is Merlin Berger. I'm probably the most senior citizen in this room. I am been a past member of the Fair Foundation. A number of years ago, we had a booth here during the fair. And at that time, we had went through the deal of planning a big structure out here at the fair, big improvements. This is going to be a multi-use facility where you could have as many as 6 to 7 events going on at the same day at the same time. From little soccer fields to rodeos to huge church events, you could name it on and on. We had the diagrams, we had the around, it was in the fair, and I went around to show the people what it is. In this booth, we had these little yellow cards. And all during the 5 days of the fair, we had people come by and fill out these cards. And we could tell if they were like a voting age, we asked them, could you please fill out this card? One of the things you had to put on the card was, are you a Kootenai County resident? And if they put yes, okay, some of them put down their address. Some, oh, lo and behold, one of these cards even put down their phone number. Now, that's rare in this day's age. But anyway, at the end of this all over, one of the questions asked on there, would you, as a taxpayer in Kootenai County, pay a 1.1% increase on your taxes to help build this facility? Surprisingly, when we got these cards, there was over like 3,900 cards that were filled out. And we took and separated from them only the Kootenai County residents, and the others we put at the side B. 72% of the people that filled those cards out from Kootenai County said yes. They would gladly agree to pay that to have this facility. We had 2 county commissioners at the time that said, no, we won't go to the commissioners and ask them to put it on the ballot this fall. Reasoning being, at the same time, there was going on the ballot to help and expand the jail. And they came back and said, no, we know the public would probably vote for this facility, but if they do, they won't vote for the jail too. So therefore, it went away. Nothing really happened after that. But there's still as many times people say, whatever happened to that event? But now we're coming up with a program where, okay, if we can do this, if you have a facility, and I'm going to use as an example what happened in this community. This is one of the most giving communities you're going to find in Pacific Northwest. spare none. We have a Croc Center. We have all of these things. Where did that money come from? From you individuals. That's where the money came from. When the city of Coeur d'Alene applied to get this particular center here, they had to come up basically and prove to the Croc people and to the Salvation Army that they had the commitments of $13 million before they would even put us on the list to consider us to be on there. Out of 18 different communities, you know who ended up with the Croc Center? Kootenai County. And you know why? It's because facilities thought it's something we will own. And because we'll own it, people like these gentlemen up here who own businesses and whatnot, they'll contribute to something where there's some ownership involved. If this plan we're talking about of getting this commitment to turn around and basically, well, we ever own the land, no, the fair won't, it'll belong to the county, it'll belong to taxpayers. But if we can get this thing approved and get it through, and long-term, we now own or run this fairground, now you can go to these people that have the money out there and they'll contribute to something that they're going to have some ownership in. So it's very important that you urge everybody, urge your neighbors. Now today, we're a lot of us, we're speaking to the choir here. But now choir members, let's go out and talk to our neighbors and other individuals and put the pressure on that this has to happen, that the fairground stays where it's at.
Hello, my name is Serena Caples. I'm actually one of the most recent additions to the fair staff. I am the developmental director for the North Idaho Fair and Rodeo Foundation, which Bat spoke on. It's a nonprofit that supports capital improvements, scholarships, and educational opportunities for the fairgrounds. A lot of people don't even know that it exists, and it's such a beneficial organization for our community. I want to touch on a few things really quickly. Before I was a staff member of the fair, I was a community member and a business owner. And before all of that, I have been here since I was 9 years old in 4-H. The first thing my parents did when we moved here was put all of us kids in 4-H. And it was probably, undoubtedly, one of the best things we've ever done. And I'm seeing that tradition carried on now with my daughter, who's 7, and it's just such an honor to be able to carry on that legacy. I hear a lot of people saying, what can we do? Some things I would really encourage us to do is support your fairgrounds. Talk to people. A lot of things on social media that is being addressed are questions that people just simply don't know the answers to. And that's where all of you can come into play. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to the fair. We are here to help educate you so you can educate other people on what's going on. Lost my train of thought. I see so many of you that I know in this room, and it's honestly 99% the fairgrounds related. Even a lot of new faces that have been family members from scholarship recipients. A couple weeks ago, I went and was able to present scholarships at Lakeland High School, which I attended as a high school student. And that is so special. And to hear what these kids are going on to do with their lives to impact their community, it's wonderful to be a part of it. So support the fairgrounds, share with people. Please ask if you have questions. I know a lot of people go to social media to ask questions, but I am happy to talk to you, to meet with you, to have coffee and explain what we're all about and help carry this through. Also, I know it's a really spicy, fiery subject. We are all very passionate,
Passion drives success. We just want to make sure that we keep that in such a positive manner, because the fairgrounds is not just the rodeo. It's not just livestock. It's everyone. In a world where life is so divisive right now, it is the one place that brings the community together, and those differences kind of go away. So I want to encourage you to come alongside people and walk with them through it instead of just alienating them out. Let's support. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kelly McSheehy. I've lived here for close to 30 years. I've been quite involved with different things down at the fairgrounds. My kids were pretty much grown, so they didn't get to go in 4-H and things like that. But I'm not going to go on and on. But I do have a question. Look at all the people here tonight. If this is going to be the same room on the 22nd, there's not going to be enough room for people. I challenge them to have the meeting at the fairgrounds.
Hello, my name is Amelie Johnson, and I know that we want to keep it short and sweet. But I'd like to share with you all how important the Kootenai County Fairgrounds have been in my life, as well as the lives of countless others. As you can see tonight, I'm just kind of overwhelmed with how many people love the fairgrounds just as much as I do. Because of our fairgrounds, I learned the values of hard work and discipline through my years in Marianne Crum's Diablos 4-H Club. No matter how tired, hot, or sweaty I was, there was always time to do the right thing, from picking up all the trash at the end of a long day, making sure to leave the grounds nicer than we found it, to helping a fellow rider get into the arena between classes at our horse shows. Because of our fairgrounds, I learned how important the sport of rodeo and the values of the Western way of life is to our community, something that would be an egregious tragedy if lost. From seeing the starry eyes of rodeo fans, young and old, in the grandstands, to being able to show fellow locals and travelers how amazing Coeur d'Alene, Idaho is, these grounds are a proud display of why agriculture is to be protected and how it greatly impacts our lives. Because of our fairgrounds, I get to attend college in the fall, as I received a scholarship from the Fair Foundation that relieved a great deal of financial stress off of my shoulders. Because of our fairgrounds, I have lifelong friendships and know that every time I visit the barns, front office, or arena, I will be greeted by a familiar face without fail. Why change something that clearly has so much sentiment, importance, and love rooted in the grounds, with potential of more impact on new lives for many years to come? In a day and age where we are becoming more divided, holding on to what brings us together is imperative and irreplaceable. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Rodney Waller, longtime resident of Coeur d'Alene, lifetime resident of Idaho. I was recently with a person named Marla Calico. She's the CEO of the International Association of Fairs. She came to give a eulogy at Barb Renner's service on Saturday. She was flying from Edinburgh, Scotland, where she had been attending a global Association of Fairs meeting from countries around the globe. And when she was talking at Barb's service, she noted that the Coeur d'Alene, the Kootenai County Fair, was the smallest fair represented by leadership, and that was Barb. And she was the first woman president of the International Association of Fairs, and that the Kootenai County Fair has been for decades boxing out of their class, basically. The leadership at the fair, the commitment from you all in leadership, is recognized internationally through Barb and Alexia and others. So we really need to get that message to the county commissioners that the fair is cultural. It's not a bargaining chip. I was trying to think, what could I what could I make an analogy with in Coeur d'Alene? So it'd be like City Hall in Coeur d'Alene wanting to potentially consider selling off McEwen Field because they needed more office space or something. I mean, it's ludicrous, right? Well, this is really no different. The fairgrounds being centrally located is critical to our culture. So just some perspective.
Nice to see you all here. It's nice to see all these people here. Everybody here is pro-fair. I don't see anybody here that's gone in the other direction. That's why I came. Because there's got to be some out there. What you need to think about maybe is election time makes a big difference, no matter what party you're in or what side of the fence you're on or whatever. Cecil's on one side. He's done a great job all the time. I'm kind of on the other side. But it doesn't make any difference. We're all human beings. We all want to be here together, and we all know we got something good here. But take a look. Next time these guys come and bang on your door or send you some literature, see what they got to say about the fair. It's pretty simple. Either they like it or they don't like it. And then you can make up your mind what you want to do and send a message. I don't have a heck of a lot more to say on that. You know, I supported the fair all the time. I worked with the fair board when I was county commissioner. When I came here in 1972, you had to buy a job. You couldn't go to work for somebody. It's a lot different right now. And then I worked, probably some of you still know me I worked for the assessor's office for 20 years. I probably banged on your door and ran your taxes up for some reason. And it isn't a tax deal either. It's just trying to raise money. And then I went, and I was dumb enough to ran 3 times to be county commissioner. Finally got county commissioner job. But then they decided to fire me. But that's the way it goes. Well, thank you for all your time, and just remember again, when they're out there banging on your door or sending you literature, take a hard look.
My name is Debbie Williams. I'm a lifelong resident of Coeur d'Alene, and I just wanted to make this a little bit more personal. I've been involved in 4-H since I was 8 years old. I have 7 children who are involved in 4-H. I'm a 4-H leader. I could go on and on about that wonderful program and being at the fair. But also, my mom was involved in the fair for 16 years. And I was someone whose mom was able to have her memorial service at the fair. And there was over 500 people there, and there would have been nowhere else that we could have been to just celebrate her life. And on top of that, I have seen people meet in 4-H's 8-year-olds and grow up and get married and have children because of all the experiences at the rodeo, at the fair, at different events. It's a personal community place, and that's just a really important thing for people to remember. Oh, well, one more.
Once again, Dave Fair, and I've made a lot of notes. I'm not going to go over that. I think a lot of things have been said, but I do want to thank, first of all, the fair staff and the fair board, because they do a lot of things behind the scenes that people don't really notice, and they fight a lot of fights, but it is appreciated. You guys do a great job. I've had the privilege to see and go to a lot of fairs. I've spent a lot of time, 30 years, at the North Idaho Fair. I've seen it at just about every capacity, from just somebody going to attend to being connected to the 4-H, volunteering, exhibitor. vendor. And each one of those is a little community. And I still go around and I'll go to other fairs and I'll see people. There's connected. And it is about community. It's a bunch of little communities that connect into a bigger one. It's about the community of Kootenai County. It's a reflection of all of us. It's about our values, and it's finding commonality. It's real easy to find the differences, but it's finding that common ground in what we all believe in and it's what makes us so unique and so special. I kind of started a firestorm with the question in there. I'd like to ask for clarification because, just correct me if I'm wrong, but that code says that the counties may. It's not an absolute. So it doesn't automatically happen. That's a conscious choice. And I can tell you that this fight is being fought around the state. In Twin Falls, you go over the bluff, it's continuous and it's unique to Idaho. I wish I could tell you why. I can't. There was talk about, talk to your elected officials. It's not just the people running for county commissioner. Luke, politicians all run in the same circle and they talk to each other. We try to stop it, but they do.
There's some people I won't talk to.
True, the reformed. But even if they're running for clerk, running for whatever, a city position, committee member, you name it, ask them about where they stand on it, where they support. Because guess what? That question keeps coming up. They talk among themselves. And it suddenly, hold it, this must be important because I'm hearing it everywhere. That's something you can do. Correct things when you see that they're not correct or statements in there, and support. I know this is the choir here for your meeting on the 22nd. Bring a friend, bring a couple friends, make it a bigger choir because it truly will be something that numbers are going to affect. So I thank you for having this. I think it's a great way to kick off what's going to hopefully be continuous information going out. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Is it on? We're good? Okay. I just wanted to, one more time, before you guys all go, Jonathan's going to come up and put on the screen where you can send emails to if you want to have more to say and send it to the county commissioners. Is that where it's going? I can't see the screen. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. And then before you go, we brought cotton candy. We don't want to be all sugared up in the office. Trust me, you don't need that. We've got tons of those blue ribbon cookies. We've got our history books that we put together for the Salute to a Century Fair sitting back there that'll tell you everything you ever wanted to know about the fairgrounds. Buttons that say your fair and Idaho tradition, and I'd like to encourage you all to join us in sporting those wherever you can. And mostly there's 37 days to the fair, so we got work to do, and thank you for being here.